Is it true, kind, and necessary? This is something that popped in for me over the last week. Sometimes the energy is just right for a lot of drama. I know that over the last week or so that I've had many things in my life pop up where it was just very chaotic. There was um, a lot of chances for me to react in really big ways. And I noticed, like many of you guys, I'm sure, is that as you go down and travel this spiritual journey and your healing journey, the things that maybe triggered or upset you long ago don't bother you now. However, sometimes these things can resurface and hit just right as kind of a last second thing to be looked at, to be put into healing and to clear away and let go. You know, that's what it feels like is happening right now, is that we are exiting out of Cancer season and going into Leo. Cancer can be very emotional. It's bringing up a lot of stuff. We are in Mercury retrograde now, which is just kind of like really amping that up. So you may have, whether you're watching this now at the end of Cancer season or down the road, we're often given these experiences whenever we really need to see them. So when we ask, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? This is something that I've said to myself when I could take a deep breath to kind of ground myself and also really connect to what is this asking me to look at? How can I observe this from all angles? I had a conversation with a friend earlier today, and that is the beautiful part of healing is that the more that you heal, the more that you are connected to yourself and in this awareness state of compassion and love and realizing that this is a journey, not a destination, that it gives the grace and the permission to really to float above and around all of these different views on how we look at things, how we react to things, and how we put these moments into further healing. Oftentimes once we observe something and feel the things that we need to feel, that is the energy of putting it into healing at that moment. And then it's in healing. And then that's just another part of your journey that falls behind you and in front of you to pave the road forward. You might notice over the next week that there could be some situations around family, friends, connections that could be bringing up these last bit of things to be looked at and reflected on and to observe. You know, it can be so hard because when these things come up, they're kind of like, at least for me, they're kind of like a flashbang. And it's like in a moment you can be kind of blinded and you're reacting from a place of that still unhealed wound. And it's really hard in the moment sometimes to get present because what happens in that trigger is that we kind of go back and we automatically kind of like a reflex react in the old way or want to, right? So whether, something does trigger you and it pops up and you react in the old form, or you have a second to catch your breath and you want to react, or you don't react, all of these things are for you to kind of look at whatever road you or choice that you take or whatever happens in that moment. You know, it can be really tempting because oftentimes what this does is it pokes a fear, right? It can poke this part of you that doesn't feel unsafe. And oftentimes when we don't feel unsafe, we want to manage so that we can somehow influence the outcome, or perhaps, or maybe we want to avoid and not actually feel the pain that we're being asked to feel to be put into healing. So remember, as these potential things that might come up, whether it seems to be a pretty big theme around family right now. But that's not to say that it's not anything that you have a strong connection with. You could be living completely alone like a hermit and still experience this kind of energy to be put into healing. It might be your relationship with money, your relationship with security, the relationship with your body. So know that at this time, this is exactly what's intended to happen. We head out of Cancer season into Leo and into fire. Then we go right into Lionsgate. And they're kind of showing this last bit of stuff kind of bubbling up, like the weeds in the garden, that we can kind of toss these into the fire so that we can move forward, because fire, even though can appear very destructive, it also is creative energy. Fire is used in like many kinds of pine trees I think it's the ponderosa pine, that when the cone of the ponderosa pine gets at a hot enough temperature, usually by a wildfire, that ignites the cone to spray the seeds for new birth and to repopulate the forest. It's also known that fire creates kind of a fertilizer effect. It's needed in many ways. So this week, what do you kind of want to toss in the fire? Not to destroy it, but in the energy of, what can this healing create for me? Because what you're choosing to create over the next season in Leo here and Lionsgate is really, it's important what you say. It's important what you do. It's important to be thoughtful, mindful, feel the feelings of the dream that you want to create for yourself. It's really, really big manifestation energy. And we want to make sure that we are manifesting from a place of that fire and not from the place of the suffering wound. Not from here, not from the stories. I want to manifest this not because I'm in lack, but I want to manifest this because it would feel, right? So allow the feelings to come up, to be felt, to be transmuted, and then to clear away what's not needed and toss it in the fire, so that as we move into Leo season, you're creating the life that you want, because the harvest is next. This is that last little dose of fertilizer, right? This is those details, these small things. Because, how you choose to flow through potential triggers this week, it's a small detail, but it's so huge. Do you just jump into react from here? Or do you take 1 second, take a breath, and come from this place of love and peace? And what is this showing me? That little yes, no, in that small window, in that moment, really determines how a cycle could be replayed, like a repeating cycle. Like, did you go down the same dramatic path that you've always gone down? Or do you make that slight shift and go, you know what, whatever this connection is, I need to take a breath. I need to find out, is this true? How can I be kind? What's needed for me to say right now? There is a lot of energy right now around truth and illusion. It's a very fine line right now. So there's a lot of, I feel like, kind of curtain dropping moments, like in The Wizard of Oz, that are going to probably play out on a world stage. However, these kind of curtain dropping moments of clarity are within us as well. Where have we been following an illusion, and where are we actually seeking the truth? When we talk about the inner child healing, one of the first things that, like, when my body kind of reacts, is I ask myself, what are you feeling? And I'll hear what I'm feeling. What's happening? Is that happening right now? And is it true? And most of the time, like that voice inside of me will say, well, no, it's not happening, but it could. Is it true right now? Well, no, not right now, but it might. And then when you go into that might or it could, now you're up in that illusion in this headspace of like anxiety, fear, trying to, jump ahead of things to manage or whatever. But when we can be present and be like, is it true right now? No, it's not true right now. Okay, then let's take that breath. Let's settle into this moment. Let's not be drawn into the chaos that might be on the outside of us. Because there are a lot of people on this earth, and we are all at different levels of our healing and spiritual journey and our life journey. And there are some people that, don't really get drawn into a lot. And there are some people that react very quickly. It's important for you to be true to you and be true to your feelings. The last bit of the Cancer, to that water energy. What's rising up? What's true for you? What feels right for you? So, as you move through this week, I also want to say notice the ways in which you're either affected or not affected by things. Be proud. I know that that came up in the kickoff in our journey about being proud, not from that egoic place, but be proud of that inner child. Be proud of that teenager energy in you that is learning and actually putting things into action now. Teenagers, they try lots of things. It's important for us to support and be proud of that part of us as we kind of sift through and incorporate that wild and wise. All right. You can put some comments down below. Let me know how you're doing this week. And if you want to share maybe some of the things that are going on in your life and what you've learned and observed through these moments, feel free to share them below. We're all here to love and support each other. We're all here to be, truthful, kind, and we're all needed. So, love you guys, and we'll see you soon.